Welcome to Embarrassing Moments in Graphic Design. The October before I graduated from my BFA design program, I landed a job designing book covers. I had no outside financial help other than a crippling student loan, so it was a relief to have a full time job and steady income in New York City. I was an uh, much older student and needed to hit the ground running. The starting salary was $30,000. This is not the embarrassing part. It afforded me enough to rent a room from a vocal coach in the Inwood section of Manhattan. The room was painted pink and baby blue, and I had enough space for a pre existing twin bed and my computer desk. I was a 33-year-old undergrad living in what seemed to be a disused nursery at the top of the island with some random lady. This is still not the embarrassing part. I left my window open one night and woke up to find a squirrel eating my leftover bagel in the middle of the floor. I left the window open another time and found my Mac was gone. One day, my mentor recommended me for an interview at a competing publishing house. I always tell my students to accept interviews for 3 reasons. They are good practice, whether you get the job or not. It's a small design world, and it's a way to expand your professional contacts. And finally, if you turn down enough interviews, people will stop offering them to you. I went to the interview and was offered a job for $50,000. Wow, this would mean I could afford to repaint the nursery or even move into my own studio. Fully believing my current employer would not match the offer, I went to give my resignation in person. The creative director asked if I could wait a day while she considered the counteroffer. By the end of the day, she matched it. It was quite a jump in salary for me, from 30 to 50,000, and I'd be able to continue to work with my mentor in the office next door. So I accepted. Well, 3 weeks later, another interview offer came in from Martha Stewart magazine. According to my 3 reasons, I had to accept the interview, but I felt very guilty about it, like I was cheating on my creative director after she gave me such a big raise. I dressed nice the day of the interview, but not so nice it would raise suspicion. I was showing a giant physical portfolio and hid it in the supply room so it wouldn't be seen walking in or out with it. The Martha Stewart magazine offices were down the street at the Grace Building, right across from Bryant Park. It was a sunny day, but it was winter, and everything was melting and dripping. People were filling the park with their lunch breaks. As I approached the first entrance, I heard a great crunching swoosh. I was in the exact right spot for hundreds of pounds of slush to slide off the curve of the building and land directly on my head and portfolio. At the same time, I could hear a giant collective whoa. It was coming from all the luncheoners across the street. I was drenched, cold, and in shock. Luckily, I was early, another piece of advice I often give students. I rushed towards the main doors while wiping slush off my shoulders and arms, and looked at the dry part of my scarf and started wiping off my head and neck. Then I checked to see how my portfolio was. I wiped the slush off the top and opened the case and saw that it was bone dry. What a relief! The interview was on the 11th floor, but I got off on 10 to use the bathroom that I found to dry myself out. It was then that I realized in my haste I had left the giant portfolio 10 floors down outside the building entrance. I hurried all the way back down to discover that no one wanted to steal a design portfolio left on the street. Whew. Then I made it all the way back up to the 11th floor, just in time to be received. As I sat down at my interviewer's desk, I started to show my portfolio, and the shock began to wear off, and a throbbing headache replaced it. I didn't get the job, but I learned about design karma and what seemingly deserved punishment I received for cheating on my creative director so soon after a raise. I still tell my students to accept interviews. Well, thanks for joining me for another embarrassing moments in graphic design. And remember, design is serious, but life is not. What font scares you the most?
I think it's Garamond.